Your property is ready. The tenant moves in on Monday, and your cleaner just canceled Saturday night. Now you're scrambling, you're texting at least 5 people, and nobody responds. That is not a vendor problem. That is a systems problem. And until you fix it, your business is one cancellation away from a bad review, a broken contract, or a very unhappy corporate client who will never call you again. I'm Corey Garcia, and I run a corporate housing business. And in this video, I'm going to break down exactly where to find reliable cleaners, handymen, and on-call vendors for your rental portfolio. Not the obvious answers, but the ones that actually hold up when you're managing multiple units, serving B2B clients, and you need someone to be there by tomorrow. So let's get into it. Most operators approach vendor sourcing the same way they approach everything else in this space, reactively. They list a unit, a tenant moves in, something breaks, now they're on Google, now they're on Yelp, now they're posting in Facebook groups asking for referral. That's not how a business operates. That's how a landlord panics. Most people treat vendors as a transactional relationship. You hire them when needed, you pay when you're done, and move on. But the operators doing serious volume, the ones managing 10, 20, maybe even 30 units, they treat vendors like infrastructure, not a contact on your phone, an asset in your business. Because when a corporate client signs a contract with you, they're not paying for just a unit. They're paying for the consistency, for reliability, for someone to answer when things go wrong. If your operations fall apart because one cleaner flake, you don't have a business. You have a liability. So let me give you this framework. Think in tiers. Tier 1 is your primary, your go-to operators. They know your properties, they know your standards, they have access, they know what a turnover looks like for you specifically. Tier number 2 is your backup. These are better vendors you've tested at least once. You've seen their work, you just don't use them every week. Tier 3 is for emergencies. These are better options for 11 p.m. situations. It's higher costs, but are available on short notice. You have confirmed they will actually pick up. Most operators only have tier 1, and half of the time, tier 1 is just one person they found on Facebook 2 years ago. That's fragile. You need redundancy, not because things will go wrong constantly, but because in corporate housing, when things go wrong, they go wrong at the worst possible time. Right before a new placement, right during an ALE claim, right when an insurance adjuster is watching your every move. That's when your vendor infrastructure either holds or falls apart. Let's go through this by category. You have your cleaners. This is the most critical hire in your operation. A bad cleaner ends your corporate housing career faster than anything else. Number 1 is from other operators. If you're in any midterm rental or corporate housing community, a Facebook group, a Slack channel, a mastermind, ask who they use. Not who's cheap, but who is consistent, shows up on time, and communicates when there's a problem. A referral from another operator is worth more than any Google review. Number 2 is other cleaning companies, not individual cleaners. Early on, a lot of operators will go with the solo cleaner. It's lower cost, feels safer to manage. The risk here is a single point of failure. When you're managing multiple units, look for small cleaning companies, maybe 2 to 5 persons operations. They have coverage. When one person is sick, someone else shows up. That redundancy is worth paying a premium for. Number 3 is hospitality staffing agencies. In most mid-sized to large cities, there are staffing agencies that specifically place hotels and hospitality workers. Cleaners trained to hotel standards who understand turnover timelines. You can call hotels in your market. Ask them who does their housekeeping overflow. That company will also work with private operators. Number 4 is your laundry and linen service vendor. If you're already using a linen service, ask them if they know reliable cleaners. These vendors are embedded in the hospitality ecosystem. They have relationships. They see who does good work. Up next, we have handyman and maintenance. Number 1, think about your trade school and vocational programs. Community college and tech programs produce graduates in HVAC, plumbing, electrical, and general maintenance. A lot of them freelance while building their client base. You can call the program coordinators and ask them if they have recent graduates looking for steady property work. You become one of the first consistent clients. You get quality work at reasonable rates, and you build a relationship early. Number 2 is property management company vendors. If you know anyone in traditional property management, ask who handles their maintenance. These vendors are already experienced working inside occupied units, and they understand the operation environment. Number 3 is your HVAC and appliance service companies. Most operators only call this when something breaks. The smarter play is to build a relationship before you even need them. Call a local HVAC company, tell them you manage Furnished to midterm rentals, and ask them about a service agreement or prefer a client rate. What you're looking for is priority scheduling. In the summer, HVAC companies are slammed. So if your AC goes out and you have a governors in that unit, you need someone there today, not in 2 weeks. A prior relationship changes your place in the queue. Up next, we have on-call and emergency vendor. This category is about having answers before questions get asked. For step number 1, you need to go through every single type of emergency that could happen in one of your units. Burst pipes, lock malfunctions, power issues, appliance failures, pest sighting, HVAC failure. Write it all down. For step number 2, for each category, identify at least 2 vendors you have personally spoken with. Not found on Yelp, but actually spoken to them. Call them. Tell them you manage rental properties. Ask about after-hour availability. Ask about their service area. Ask what their call-out fee is. What you're building is a list of people who will actually show up. For step number 3, keep this list in a shared document, not in your head. In a document, your co-host, your VA, or your partner can access at any time you're unavailable. That is operation. So let me give you a few less obvious sources. Insurance restoration companies. If you do any ALE work, housing displays by insurance claims, you're already in proximity to these companies. Restoration companies often have subcontractors in their network. This includes cleaners, contractors, repair specialists. Build a relationship with the restoration project manager. Ask them who does their post-project cleans. You're accessing a professional network that operates under high standards because insurance companies are auditing their work. You can also have access to relocation companies and corporate housing agencies. When you talk to a relocation coordinator, ask whether cleaners are expected to deliver. Ask what their threshold is for a property ready status. Now you know what standard to hold your vendors to. Let me walk through the mistakes I see most often. One mistake is hiring based on price alone. Price is a data point. It's not a decision. The cheapest cleaners who cancel twice a month cost you way more than a reliable cleaner who's charging you 30% more. In corporate housing, a cost of a bad turnover is not just a bad review. It's a canceled placement. It's a corporate client who doesn't renew. Price your vendors based on total cost, not just the invoice. Mistake number 2 is never testing your backups. Most operators build a backup vendor list and never actually use them until there's an emergency. Then the emergency happens and they find out the backup is unreliable. Use your backup vendors on small jobs regularly. That way, when the emergency comes, you already know exactly what you're getting. Mistake number 3 is not documented standards. You can't hold a vendor accountable to a standard they've never seen. Build a simple checklist for your turnover. Send it over to vendors, walk through with them once. This eliminates 50% of the arguments and 90% of the inconsistency. Mistake number 4 is having no onboarding process. When you bring in a new cleaner, the first step should be a walkthrough, not a solo assignment. Show them the unit, show them where supplies are stored, show them what done actually looks like. 1 hour of investment equals 10 hours of corrections saved. Mistake number 5 is single sourcing. If one vendor can take down your whole operation, you have a dependency problem, not a vendor. And here's where I want to leave you. Vendor management is not a back office problem. It's a frontline business decision. When you're pitching a company on housing their employees, when you're talking to an insurance adjuster about ALE placements, when you're working with the hospital on travel nurse housing, what you're really selling is this: when something goes wrong, I have a system, I have a team, I will handle it. And that is the confidence that closes B2B contracts. Not your unit photos, not your Airbnb reviews, your operational credibility. And that credibility is built in the infrastructure behind your business. Your vendors are part of that infrastructure. Treat them like it. If you're building out your corporate housing operations and you want the full framework, how we structure operations, how we land B2B contracts, and how we build the systems that support consistent placements, make sure you're subscribed. We put out content built for operators, not hobbyists, but operators. And if you're currently transitioning from Airbnb or you're already doing midterm rentals and trying to move towards direct corporate clients, drop a comment below and tell me where you are in the process.